This is Gemara Bava Basra Daf Lamid Hey. We pick it up at the very bottom of Lamid Dalid Amid Beis. 3 lines from the bottom, and this really is a bit of a continuation of the previous sugya, in which we brought up the idea of Kol Da'alim Gavar, that he who is stronger is going to be that wins. So says the Gemara, another case that's going to have applications of this din, and again, we just make mention, these are very short amudim in words. But of course, these are the largest of sugya, the sugya of Haru Arba, the sugya of Nasla de Rav Abba, the sugyas of Kol Da'alim Gavar, etc. Says the Gemara, 3 lines from the bottom on Lamedalim and Beis, Ze Oimer Shalavoisai, Beze Oimer Shalavoisai. 2 people are arguing about a certain piece of land, and each one claims it belongs to their father. Neither one has a raya. Omer Rav Nachman, what's the halacha? Kol Da'alim Gavar. Whoever is stronger is going to win. Bezdin walks away from this, allows them to fight over it, and whoever is going to be stronger is going to win. And again, we make mention that Lamaisa, what is this halacha of Kol Da'alim Gavar is a large discussion. Says the Gemara, why is this case any different than a case of Shnei Shtarais that came in front of Bezdin on the same day, and each of the Shtarais claim that there's a matana of the same piece of karka to a different person? So it's obviously impossible. There's a matana to Reuven for this piece of land. There's a matana for Shimon for this piece of land. Obviously, the same piece of land cannot have been given to both Reuven and Shimon. So we have a stalemate in din. And what is the halacha in that case? As we turn over to Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, says the Gemara, the halacha is the Rav Amar Yachlaiku. Says Rav, they split the property. Ushmuel Amar, no, Shuda de Daini. Bezdin decides and figures out. They evaluate what to do. So ask the Gemara, why in this case is either Bezdin figuring out or we're splitting it? And in our case, if Zamar Shalavaisai, are we claiming Kol Da'alim Gvar? Answers the Gemara, there's a simple chalik. Hasam lekel mekel demelsa. Hacha ikal mekel demelsa. Over there, there's nothing we could do. Bezdin tried their best, and eventually Bezdin throws in the towel. Each is claiming Zeh Shalavaisai. Each one is claiming the land is theirs. Neither is able to do anything. So what does Bezdin say? Okay, Kol Da'alim Gvar, we're out of here. Whereas Hacha, in this case, in Rav Nachman's case, in which we have shtaros that are saying that matana is going to different people, it could be that there's what Bezdin could find a raya, and therefore we have a machlaikus whether shudah the daini or yachlaiku. Ask the Gemara, okay, very nice, but what about our Mishnah? What do we do from our Mishnah? Someone is swapping, exchanging a par of a chamar, and it gives birth, and we don't know whose vlad it is. Or someone sells a shivcha, and it gives birth, and we don't know whose vlad it is. This one claims it was born before the mechira. It was born after the mechira. What's the halacha? Yachlaiku. Again, so what do we see? We have a case in which we have a clash. We have a case in which we don't know what to do. We have an equal taina opposing each other. And what does the Mishnah say? Yachlaiku. Not like we just said, Kol Da'alim Gavar. Answers the Gemara, Hasam in that case, Islay, Lahayis Le Jar Dimamayna, or Lahayis Le Jar Dimamayna. Big sigyas over here. Says the Gemara, over here, each one has what the Gemara coins as Drara Dimamayna. That's in that case, which we'll explain in a moment. Whereas Hacha in our case, Idamar loy damar, Vidamar loy damar. In our case, it's one or the other. Each one is claiming Zeshel Avoisai. Each claim inherently cannot coexist with the other guy's claim. And therefore, because each guy's claim cannot coexist with the other guy's claim, therefore, there is nothing that could be done. And that's the reason why we're saying Kol Da'alim Gavar. Whereas in the case in which they're disputing, they're arguing when the Vlad was born, each one has a drar d'mamayna, each one has a good claim to the money. It's not mutually exclusive to each other. And therefore, that's the reason why it's a real equals claim one onto another. And therefore, in such a scenario, we're able to paskin and we're able to say achlaiku, because it's not that each one undoes the other claim, like each one says, this field did belong to my father, which in that case we say called al gavar. In this case, each one has a good claim, and therefore we can say achlaiku. Amrin hardai. So based upon this, says the Gemara, they taught in Arda, in ba'echa min hashok vehechsek ba ein moitzin oisam yadai. In any scenario in which we have of the aforementioned cases, if one of them comes and grabs it, he could keep it. Ein moitzin oisam yadai. We're not going to take it away from him. Why? Titani Rav Chia Gazlin shal Rabim lav Shemei Gazlin. Rav Ashi Amar, no, it is Shemei Loilam Shemei Gazlin. My Loi Shemei Gazlin Shlonitali Shavin just means he can't return it. But Lamaisa, once it is grabbed, he's going to be allowed to keep it. Just to mention, obviously, the sugya of Durar D'Ramaina is of the largest. What exactly is the pshat in it is not so simple. Just to quickly read 3 lines of the top taisvis that says the dalta nasayu mehacha, that even without their tainas, as the famous taisis explains, Bezdin has a suffix. Their taina is not creating the suffix in Bezdin. The suffix in Bezdin is without their taina. When Bezdin sees a Vlad born, Bezdin itself doesn't know when the Vlad was born. And therefore, in a scenario in which their tainas don't create the suffix, like the case of Zamar Shalav Aisai, their tainas what created the whole story. In such a scenario, that's when we're going to paskin yachlaiku, whereas in another case, we'll say kol da'alim kvar. One more short Gemara, 8 lines down, the 2 dots, says the Gemara, Chazkasan Shalei Shanim Miyom Liyom, going all the way back to the Mishnah. If the Etzem Din of Chazaka, which is 3 years day to day, 3 complete years, Amar Rav Abba, says Rav Abba, Idali Lei, Iu Kufei Sana de Peri La Altar, have a Chazaka. If A didn't see that he himself loaded up a basket of produce onto the other guy's shoulders, right away it's a chazaka. Meaning, if we have eidos that the owner is there and the owner is giving pay rise to the guy who's now living in the field, that's the clearest right in the world that it's his. Amar Rav Zved, but Vitan v'Amar lePeiros additive. Says Rav Zid, which we saw on the other day, if he claims that he went down to eat the pay rice, Neman he's also believed, as we said, he has a chazaka. No one would blatantly eat someone else's food. But v'hani mili b'toich shaloish. This is only within the first 3 years that he has such a taina. V'lachar shaloish. But after 3 years, he would not have such a taina to say that he went down l'peiros haradativ. Amrli Rav Ashi l'Rav Kahana. Says Rav Ashi to Rav Kahana, I l'peirei achte my havli lemevad. I don't understand, says Rav Ashi to Rav Kahana. If he went down the peiros, my havli lemevad, what should he have done? What should the guy who's now claiming he's owner of the field, how could he have protected himself? If you're saying that he has an emonus, how could he protect himself? Amrle, you know what he could have done? What do you mean? He should have protested within those 3 years. If you're not going to say this is where we see the power of a macha. Hari mashkanta this surah, the cosplay of a mishlam shani, and elaine tebakara double like yes. If after the amount of years you go back without money, he covers leishtara mashkanta gabe. Fi hais the shtar mashkin v'amrlikachui biyadi hachinami demem ninon. He also will have a nemonis. Taking the rabbanim midi. Does that make any sense? This really Dave say that he's going to come to lose. And of course, this is the answer to all the chazaka conundrums. Is that if he would have been meicha, if the owner would have protested and said, no, you were not lepeiros relative. What in the world are you doing in my backyard eating my apples? Then he would have saved himself and it would not have been any problems. We'll pick it up from here. B'siyata dishmaya.